This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
You know, they say if you want to move your life forward, you need to practice this one thing. This one thing can make a huge difference in your life, and there's many different reasons for that. And we're going to talk about those reasons today. Gratitude. Yes, we should be grateful for what we have, but why? Like, it's easy to say, but why? Let's dig into that. She is an aspiring speaker, passionate educator, and a transformational coach, and answers these questions. She was reading my mind today, and I'm going to tell you why in just a moment, why we stumbled upon this topic. Donna Day is back with us. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you? It's great to be back.
I'm grateful you're here today. I really am.
And I'm grateful to be here.
So, full disclosure, I keep a gratitude journal. I try to write in it every morning as soon as I wake up. Wrote some stuff down today. And I know this sounds weird, but sometimes I'm a little challenged because I want to dig deep from within. Sometimes I'll just sit there with the pen, stare at the page, and I'll be like thinking. And it's sometimes it's tough for me to come up with something because I really want it to be heartfelt. I don't know if I'm overthinking it, but what are your thoughts in terms of what we should be grateful for? And do you keep a gratitude journal?
Oh, I definitely keep a gratitude journal. A lot of people do it in the morning. I tend to do it right before bed. So sometimes it helps guide you a little bit because then you have the day to go by of things that you were grateful for in the day instead of starting in the morning. However, the suggestion I can make with if you're doing it in the morning, there's certain things that I'm always grateful for. Like I'm always grateful to wake up and breathe and be able to live each day. So if you start with something like that, or I'm grateful for my daughter, she's the light of my life, so there's certain things that you may kind of get you on the roll, and then your head starts going in the direction of other things that are more recent that you could be grateful for instead of just as like a whole in your life.
Totally. And I'm going to tell you right now, I actually wrote down today, I'm grateful for my kids. And I know it sounds ridiculous, and I've been keeping a gratitude journal for, a couple of years, easy. But I try not to go back to, of course we're grateful for our family, kids, things like that. I try not to go back to the basics, but the reason I did it today, out of one of my items grateful for, I haven't written it in a long time because I don't want to, I want to challenge myself. But I was like thinking, like, you know what? I haven't written in a long time. I got some plans with my son, taking him back to college end of the week, things like that. And I was like, yeah, I'm grateful that we get to have that experience. But I'll even, sometimes you can be grateful for a cup of coffee, and but not just the coffee. Go deeper. Grateful for the barista. Grateful for the growers. Grateful, go a little bit deeper in that and challenge yourself. That's how I look at it. You can be grateful for pretty much anything in your life, right?
Oh, yeah, you could definitely be. I mean, it could be, you're just kind of having a rough morning and you go out and someone just smiles at you. And that smile just kind of, brightens up the dim of how the morning was going. So it could be as like minor or as like, elaborate as possible. So, and it's different for each person, I'm always grateful for like, my clients and certain ones, they teach me just as much as I teach them. And I'm sure that also works in like any type of teaching environment, whether it's a public school or, someone training other people, learning from each other, something to be grateful for. Just, being grateful that you were able to wake up and have breakfast instead of running out the door and then not eating until 2 o'clock. That, it can be as, minor or as major as possible. But for me, I like to do it at night because I kind of do like a day recap. So it's kind of like what kind of happened. And then I also like to do kind of lists for the next morning, like, things that I would like to kind of get the day started with, to get the day planned. And that can also help inspire things that you're grateful for the next morning.
I might even shift the way I'm doing it. And to your point,
Yeah.
I use a been about a year I've been doing it. I bought a gratitude journal, Amazon, $8. It's a knockoff from like the $25 one. Same thing. It's all good. And there are other fields you can fill in that later in the day you come back. What would have made today better? What were your random acts of kindness? And somebody told me when you keep a journal at night, that just for the reasons you said, it's kind of a reset for the next day. But they told me when you're doing it, sit on the side of your bed and put your feet on the floor because it grounds you.
Yes. When you're anytime you're journaling, you should try to be grounded, whether it's out in nature or just like you
Mm,
said, putting your feet in the foot, just putting your feet down. Because that's where you are the most connected with all the vibrations and energy around you. Because you're kind of rooting yourself into them, and that's when things kind of get sourced to you, and like more things of gratitude or even ideas or inspiration will come through because you're centered.
mm.
Versus just kind of like, oh, here, let me write this down and then go run and do this, you know?
Yeah, I'm going to start doing it. I totally forgot about what this person told me at least a year ago until we're talking about it right now. Okay, put the brakes on.
Okay.
Gratitude car has just stopped for a moment. Why are we keeping gratitude journals? What's the big deal here? Why should you be grateful? What's going on?
It helps keep the energy flowing in a more positive direction. So as soon as your mindset stays in like a higher vibration, it attracts more positive things. If you're constantly in a lower vibration with a negative mindset, you're going to unfortunately attract more negative things, whether it's just tripping on the curb or, possibly having to slam your brakes on going to work or, someone opening a door on you. So it's important to put out the vibration and the energy that you would like to receive.
So I've heard that when you are grateful, you're sending a signal to the universe
Yep.
and you're saying, "Yeah, I like this. This is good stuff. I'm happy I have this. I'm heartfelt. I'm grateful for it." And the universe will give you more. It'll send you more. Have you
Yep.
heard that?
Yeah, it's that's what you'd be attracting. So what you put out, you're gonna attract more of. So that's why it's important, even when you're in a like a kind of a challenging situation or something traumatic just happened, to kind of try to pull your vibration upwards and not stay in that. Because unfortunately, if you like keep yourself down there, your life is just gonna continue to have the same results. So I mean, unless that's where you want to be, but I don't think anyone wants to be there. I think everyone wants to be at higher vibrations, enjoying, family, friends, new experiences, being around people that are, have similar interests, going on vacations and all that type of stuff. So if you want that positivity and abundance, you need to kind of put that energy out to attract it.
Hmm. Any other thoughts on gratitude in terms of what you should be grateful for, how you should be expressing it, just in general? We missing something here?
So, I mean, for me, I always kind of break it down into two categories. So you have reactive gratitude, which is more like when you feel grateful in response to something that happens right then and that. So, like if you go out to the grocery store and you find $1, you're like, oh my God, I'm so grateful I found this money. Or if you run into a friend or something like that, and they're just like, oh my God, let's go see this concert or something like that, and you wanted to go see it, and you're like, oh my God, this is so great. It's right then in the conditions and situations and circumstances of life. So it's like immediate gratification is what reactive gratitude is. But then generative gratitude is a completely different level. This is the type of gratitude that you reach from within, which we've been talking about.
Hmm.
So it's regardless of what's happening outside. So it doesn't matter what happened in your day or, what you were experiencing or what was surrounding you. It's the kind of gratitude gratitude that's proactive and you choose to find something to be grateful for, which we were giving some examples a little bit prior. Sometimes it's a little bit more challenging because there's a little bit more of an uncertainty because there isn't an actual like example like this just happened, now I'm grateful. So the best way I can kind of give like an analogy of these two is like if you're driving in a car, and so reactive gratitude is like only being happy when you get green lights all the way down. Generative gratitude is more about being grateful for the journey, even if you get red lights, because you know you're still moving forward and there's something to appreciate in every moment. So that would be the kind of an analogy between the two of reactive and generative gratitude.
Well, should you also look at that? All right, I'm driving somewhere,
Yeah.
red light, red light, right? Yeah, like you could say, every red light, really? Come on, I'm trying to get somewhere. I got to be there at a certain time. Could you take that and flip it around and be grateful because maybe the universe is trying to slow you down
Oh, yeah.
for a reason?
Yeah. So, I mean, in that situation, instead of focusing on getting delayed, focus on, oh, look at the beautiful trees or the foliage around me. Or, I'm so excited to be going wherever you're headed. Or, just try to bring the energy up of and the positivity out of it instead of just reflecting on the what you feel is negative at that time because the universe will slow you down sometimes.
Mm.
And sometimes it's to keep you safe. So sometimes it's better just to sit back and kind of just like, even if you have friends in the car or your kids in the car, be grateful that, you're able to be going on this trip or, this drive or this day trip with who you're with and maybe start talking about where you're going and what you're going to do when you get there. Instead of focusing so much on, oh my God, this is taking forever. And the kids going, are we there yet?
I'll share one in real time. So here we go. I was planning to skydive with my son. Never went before. Had a gift certificate. Somebody gave me 3 years ago for my birthday. The skydive place will still honor it. My son's now old enough to go. He was on board. I'm on. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Last weekend, scheduled, all set. He texts me an hour before. He's like, "I just want to let you know, Dad, I have a cold." I'm like, "Well, whoa, we can't do it." As I understand it, because you can't clear your sinuses, blah, blah, blah. Made it for this past weekend. Now it's Saturday. They delayed it over an hour and it would become close to the time he needs to go to work. So I was like, all right, so let's just tap the brakes here. We'll make it for tomorrow, meaning this past Sunday. All set to go, wake up, all ready. They send a text and they say, we have to cancel today because of high winds. So 3 times. And I'm looking at it as there's a sign here. So I think I'm grateful that these things presented. I don't know. And I'm sure it'd be fine. But you know what? There's got to be a reason why. So kind of grateful for whatever. And when it's going to happen, we're going to do it. Maybe, he'll be back for a weekend from college before it gets cold out and we'll hit it up then. But I'm grateful. I could be looking at it as like, really? Come on. I believe there's a reason.
Yeah, I mean, there could be many reasons. It could be, the parachute is going to malfunction. You have no idea.
I have no idea.
It could be anything, or just the way there, something bad could happen. Like, someone could hit the car.
Driving it.
Yeah, you have no idea. But it's good that you're keeping a positive attitude. And also, when you do go, you guys are gonna have a blast. So,
Yep.
even, and he's in college and stuff. So like, maybe something with class or something could have possibly happened. You don't know, but you will find out eventually. The universe will always throw it at you and you'll be like, that's why. Even if you haven't figured it out yet, the universe will always inform you of it. It just you'll be informed when the time is meant to be.
Yep. Somebody told me in my journey now, 5 years, kind of making changes in my life. At the very beginning, somebody said to me, it will all be revealed. It will
Yep.
all be revealed. And I'm like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
It
It
has
might
been.
it might not be revealed exactly when you want it to,
Right.
but it will come and then you'll be like, "Oh, thank goodness."
Yeah.
Like, oh, that type of thing. So,
Hmm.
but But yeah, but that's exciting, skydiving.
Yeah, you know what? I was in my head last year I was going to do it, and Donna, I got to tell you, complete shift in my mindset where it's just like I'd rather do that than be on a ride at an amusement park, which I was 2 weeks ago. And I've got a different mindset. Like the thing is shaking the ride. I'm like, yeah, now I got to I'm good skydiving. I
Yeah.
think it'd be cool. But anyway, um, you
Yeah.
mentioned before we got on here, we're going to talk about gratitude, which we have been, but forgiveness. Now, I know that's important too to move your life forward, but you said there's a connection between the two, and I'm not making that connection. Can you do that for us?
Yeah, well, the same thing with gratitude, also for forgiveness. There's a reactive forgiveness and also generative forgiveness, which is very similar. So one is like when you want to forgive someone because you feel they deserve it. And so that's kind of more like with the gratitude, like you're grateful for because this just happened and oh my God, this is amazing. So it's like immediate satisfaction. And then there's a generative forgiveness, which is a little bit harder because sometimes you may still have a lot of resentment or like anger or type of negative emotion towards another person and you don't want to forgive them, but the thing is that if you hold on to all of that you're actually harming yourself. So because you're holding on to all that energy and you bringing that into your everyday life until you're able to release it without realizing it. Sometimes you don't see it, but over time you'll start to be like, oh my goodness, like I can't believe I did this because this was still bothering me, and you
Mm.
start to bring it into relationships, into work, into like any type of activity. So generative forgiveness is all about what do you call it? Conditioning behavior or letting someone off the hook, even if it's a little bit harder for you. It's more about freeing like ourselves from the constrictive energy or the resentment or the blame that comes from it. So and when you do that, it removes blocks. So you end up make room for new and
Yep.
attract more positive. So that's how they kind of overlap.
And we should throw the disclaimer out there. Doesn't mean when you're forgiving somebody that you condone what they may have done.
Exactly.
You're doing it for you, not for them. They might not even know. They probably aren't going to know. Um, and they've already moved on. They don't really care, but you're holding on to it for what? You're giving them free rent in terms of your soul and your energy.
Yeah. Exactly. So, and it doesn't have to be done in person. You can just, you could write like a letter out to kind of express how your feelings are and well I if you do it that way I like to like after writing it you either like rip it up or you burn it to release it back so then you're free of it but you don't have to talk to the person, you don't have to see the person, you can do it on your own, you can go somewhere that you love in nature, go to the beach, go for a hike or whatever and just kind of like think or talk to like the trees in nature and just kind of like release it. It doesn't have to be like face to face and you never have to see that person again either. it's
Yep.
uh it's just for yourself.
3 words. It's not easy. We know it.
Yeah. It's not.
Not. It's
and,
not.
and some things are way more unforgivable than others. So, but and it
Yep.
takes a lot to get in the mindset in order to release that. But when you do, it really you almost feel lighter. Like, it's kind of just like, wow, I'm not holding on to that anymore. So, it is a positive thing, but it is challenging. I'm not going to say, oh yeah, let's just write something and say I forgive you, and oh, now I feel great. That's not how it works.
Yep. Nope. And depending on a situation or relationship, whatever it may be, it
Yeah.
it could take years. Let's be honest. It could, you'll chip away and you'll make progress at it, but if it's really challenged you might get 80% there. You want to be at 100% forgiveness. It's
Oh,
still going to be that journey. But yeah, certainly letting it go. or even just journaling and ripping out the page, just setting it free. Yeah, but it works. But it works. Everybody will
It
tell
does.
you. Yeah, right.
So it's all different stages too, as you were saying. So like sometimes maybe even at the beginning it's only 10%, not even 80%. But baby stepping it up, you really will feel better in the end. And that's
Hmm.
what life coaches can help you do too. Like it's part of the mindset, reestablishing that.
Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's you really when it's impactful, you really can't do it alone. And I remember I was in a stage of forgiveness, long journey. And I remember going to an event, and it was a friend's birthday party, and it was at just like restaurant bar. And there's a man sitting at the counter, and we started having a conversation. Turns out that he was the owner of the place. Turns out of nowhere, he starts talking about forgiving somebody in a situation. I'm convinced he was there for a reason. Like it was so random. Then I, briefly gave my situation, told him, I'm on a forgiveness journey here. We were comparing notes and everything. Well, I'll never forget it. It was so bizarre, but again, I think it was the universe's way of saying, let me throw this person in here and just show you that you need to really work on this. And he was just what you said. He moved on and his life changed. It was a bad divorce and he was just financially challenged from it. And as soon as he forgave, he said, I met somebody else. My work had changed. Now I've got abundance just from, he swears, just from letting go, just from forgiving.
Yeah, it's so true. I had a double back to back with relation one into the next, and then as we've said, with this new guy who surprises me every day because it's totally different. But I definitely forgave the other two. But still, sometimes things pop up, and it will kind of hit like a heart chord and stuff. So I'm still working at healing from the experiences, but the forgiveness part is definitely there. So that has definitely helped move things along, but it's still a healing process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Oh yeah. And that whole phrase, forgive and forget,
Yeah.
come on. Yes, forgive. You're not going to forget. It's not like, the Matrix and it's all out of your mind now. No,
Yeah.
there's going to be things that come up occasionally, but they're not going to affect you the same way
Exactly.
when you release and let it go. How do we find you, Donna? How do we connect?
It's my phone number 201-719-6991. You could also connect on my website and sign up for a strategy session or see things that I offer, which is donnadaytlc.com, or email me at donnadaytlc@gmail.com. I am going to be having a virtual workshop soon, so I will be posting that. So if anyone's interested.
TLC stands for?
It stands for Transformational Life Coach, but also it kind of plays off of tender love and care. That's why I liked it.
I had a feeling, and that's why I asked you. Because that's what I see. I see tender love and care every time I see your name and your website. I really do. I really do. Thank you so much for today. Really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. You have a wonderful rest of your week.
You
It's been a
too.
pleasure.
And I'm grateful. I'm grateful we had this conversation.
I am very grateful too.
And I'm going to start writing in my journal at night now and give that a try based on what we talked about.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. We'll catch up soon.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.